Pokemon UNITE tier list, winter update. Now the first Pokemon we need to talk about is Garchomp, because just as players were solving Garchomp and realizing Garchomp has been A+ tier at worst or secretly S tier all along, they went and massacred my boy, and it was under the guise of a buff. Now, I know what idiots are going to say, but Verlisify, in your patch notes, you said Garchomp was just going to be the best Pokemon ever now. Why are you putting in A tier? Why do you say it's not as good as it was? Well, that's because we didn't have the full information. When I covered it, I didn't know that Dragon Claw and Dragon Rush lost crit. Also, that the evolution levels don't tell the full story. That if it was Garchomp pre-patch, but everything was a level sooner, then the Pokemon's absolutely busted, and it seems like that's what Garchomp needed, because the Pokemon Unite community sucks at the game, and a lot of the influencers also don't understand the game either, so they've been, like, heavily underrating and putting it into bad tiers and stuff, but, like, good players, and people that just have good game sense and understand the game, you just get Garchomp before 5 minutes in, and then you use that Unite move at a team fight, get all that comeback experience, swing it for your team, go for the next Dreadnought, and then save your Unite move at Zapdos, and then you just win the game. Because Garchomp was the best late game carry. So if you have the best late game carry Pokemon that also secures Dreadnought, secures Rotom, secures Zapdos, while being like a 1v9 team fight Pokemon, that's one of the best Pokemon in the game. And as people like kind of figured out the best way of getting Garchomp there without giving up too much, and then also realizing Gibble's strong in lane. If you manage 5 stacks, you're just going to win fights. And also, if you can, like, really get to that level 6, start snowballing, playing with your team, instead of, like, hiding and trying to farm where there's less experience, than just kind of being with your team and getting more experience, yeah, then you're going to succeed more on Garchomp. But people didn't understand it, and now, the overall thing was that they have reduced Garchomp's skill ceiling and, like, strength, but made it more accessible by having it come online sooner. Like, yeah, level 5 Dragon Rush, it means you only lose for so long as Gibble if you're just an insecure bad player. And then, like, level 7 combo, level 9 Unite move, also Garchomp just being Garchomp, that's cool, but you're not the same. You're not the same Garchomp until, like, level 12, and by then, you're just more behind. Because I'm not really noticing a difference in pre- and post-patch Garchomp level 10s. I'm getting level 10 before 5 minutes, regardless. So, it didn't, like, help it when I'm power spiking or when I'm fighting. It also kind of, like, creates weird timings with, like, downtime on Dreadnought or Rotom or something. If you're running, like, this does help jungle Garchomps, like, Jungle Garchomp kind of the same, but you want other Pokemon in the jungle, maybe. But also, Garchomp's just weaker. Like, Garchomp is so weaker on the stats, it almost feels bugged. Like, the auto attack just randomly does less damage sometimes, but with how Pokemon Unite is, maybe it's actually a bug. But you don't, like, I don't want to sound crazy, but Garchomp just feels inexplicably weaker when you just look at the actual stat changes and the level changes and then stuff like that. And then going back to the crit changes, it felt like 2 crits per game mattered with the Dragon Claw Dragon Rush. Like, yeah, it's RNG and all that stuff, it's not super reliable, but if you're doing Dragon Claw Dragon Rush combos like twice in a team fight because you're sustaining through being a bruiser or you have like Focus Band going, your natural crit like percent chance plus a scope lens means, like, yeah, if you use Dragon Claw Dragon Rush or like those abilities 4 times, one of them is going to crit. That translates to several hundred damage. You look at a squishy Pokemon like Cinderace or a Carry that has 4,000 health, you just lose 10% damage against that Pokemon. And I'm noticing that, like, the margins are super thin, where it's like, oh, I just don't kill Cinderace anymore. I don't beat out Greninja, or, you know, Lucario can duel me a little better, because I'm not just beating them up on a crit or getting the right combo onto them, and I'm just weaker overall. I'm just doing less damage, less attack speed, so everything about Garchomp is worse, even though it, like, becomes viable, or, like, becomes Garchomp sooner. That just means, like, okay, bad players now can't screw up as hard on Garchomp, but good Garchomp just got, like, Giga nerfed, and now it's just an okay Pokemon. You're not the best carry in the game anymore. You can be kind of strong, and, like, you can, like, bully the mid-game more, but that wasn't Garchomp's role. There's other Pokemon that are really strong in the mid-game that you can choose instead. Garchomp was your late-game insurance policy. It's no longer that, but it's still viable, and it can still win some nasty fights, and it can help secure Zapdos. But you just have to know, like, you don't win the same fights, and it's just worse. So you go from S tier to A tier, sadly. Why? Another why is Tsareena the best Pokemon in the game? You know, you thought the devs learned the lesson because they went, my bad on Sylveon, we need to hotfix it. Okay, Greedent was a little too annoying. Let's make Decidueye okay. 'Cause that's another thing. Like, I believe 80 carries in Pokemon Unite should be like the best late game Pokemon in the game because like once you get a Vayne to 5 items, or a Jinx, or a Tristana, or a Kog'Maw, or Twitch, the game is just over. And pretty much every 80 carry has that case, to where when you hit the Giga in-game power spike, even like 3 or 4 items on some of the 80 carries in League of Legends, they start, like, that is where your insurance policy is. That is where you win the game. So I would like to see that for Decidueye, but because after overtuning the previous 2 Pokemon, seems like the devs learned. They made Decidueye just okay on launch. And then they made Tsareena maybe the second most broken Pokemon ever behind launch Gengar. Like, that is where I'm putting it. I've been thinking about it. Even though launch Sylveon was giga oppressive, it couldn't 1v4. Tsareena 1v4s. Like, Sylveon just, like, won duels and was just, like, way too staggeringly spooky on the damage, and people just into it too much. And also, like, they try to run away from Mystical Fire and just get run down on crazy burst damage. I feel like people are actually getting better against Sylveon to where it got over-nerfed. Like, Sylveon didn't have to lose half of its Mystical Fire damage and a third of its Hyper Voice damage. Could have lost, like, 25% of its damage, and people would have solved it by now. So, like, yeah, Sylveon, ridiculous, but also not as ridiculous as Tsareena, and we can just look at the Pokemon. This makes Viego blush. This makes Samira cry under her bed in terror, because a Bruiser needs some things in their kit. They need CC reduction or immunity. They need healing or shielding. They need mobility and speed steroids and crowd control on the enemy Pokemon. That way they can actually, like, fight instead of getting kited out forever. Tsareena has all of that. When a hindrance is inflicted on Tsareena, duration is reduced. So, idiots out there are like, nah, Tsareena isn't the best Pokemon, everyone's overreacting, maybe just a little strong and needs a slight nerf. Nah, this Pokemon needs to be gutted because it's absolutely ridiculous, and this is a level of power creep we cannot already have in our game, or else Pokemon Unite is just ruined, and now it's just getting more and more unfun. So, yeah, it's like, just CC it, bro. You can't, because it's CC'd for less time than other Pokemon. Well, then it just does all kinds of nasty things. So Triple Axle, like, we're not even talking about the reset yet. So Triple Axle comes in, and then it gives it a speed boost. So you spin in onto them with a Triple Axle, and then you just get to stick onto them because you have a speed boost, and then you have a heal. So as you're getting in, as you're getting, like, poked out or kited or CC'd, bro, you get to heal all of that back up. Also, you have mobility. So you have mobility with a shield, with a speed steroid, with a heal, that also does ludicrous damage, and for 4 seconds, your moves are unaffected by cooldowns. So, a Bruiser getting, like, 2 of these things is okay. Like, yeah, you get an ability reset, and then you also get, like, a way of speeding up onto the enemy champion or something. But Tsareena has, like, the 5 things that Bruisers need to survive in one kit. And it's unacceptable. And that's before the Unite move. Like, Tsareena, everything just doesn't make any sense. It gets the 20% crit that other all-rounders get. It has 10% lifesteal. It evolves at level 6. So you put it in the jungle, and it just instantly turns online. And it just becomes, like, the best jungler in the game because of how much you can influence the game with it. It still has, like, Triple Axle for the level 5 gank as well, which is viable. It gets its second move at level 6. So there's no downtime for Tsareena after, like, 2 minutes into the game. That's not acceptable. Like, you need to make, like, when you look at this, it's like, oh, it needs to be a level 8 or a level 9 spiking Pokemon. But even then, when it hits that point, it's 1v3. And if it uses its Unite move, it 1v4s. And there's really nothing you can do to stop it. And since it's blind pick, you might even have a comp that makes it do even less to stop it. So, like, you just can't, like, Tsareena just runs over you more than any Pokemon. It's like the skill cap of Lucario plus the carry potential of Garchomp. Like, it's Lucario resets plus Garchomp Giga Bruisering sooner and stronger. That needs a nerf. That should not exist. Like, something needs to be removed. Like, I don't know how or what. Like, this is such a broken Pokemon, I can't even fathom how you tune it. Like, Gengar was easy. Remove the iframes, tone down damage. Hey, it's actually not the strongest Pokemon in the game anymore. Blastoise was apparently bugged, and then they also nerfed a lot of its crowd control. Sylveon just needed damage. Greedent needed to be less annoying. But Tsareena just has so much everything. Like, you need to remove the shields, for starters, because that shield stacking on no cooldowns. What? How? How did that make it through testing? And then also Unite move just gives way too much power, way too much healing. The healing on Triple Axle. and then just runs around on you. Like, you can't stop Tsareena getting onto you, setting up Queenly Majesty, and just taking off. And the Pokemon has a super high skill cap, but the people that have reached and expressed that skill cap, they're getting more rewards than Lucario and Garchomp, because the Pokemon just has way too much of everything. I don't know what to talk about next. Like, really, the video is, yeah, Tsareena's the most busted Pokemon, only idiots disagree, and Garchomp has a lot of weird things going on with it. And sad what happened to Decidueye, and I didn't talk about Decidueye because Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl came out, and I didn't know the game state at that point. Zeraora got nerfed. Still think Zeraora is S tier because the nerfs only happen from levels 8 onward, and Zeraora can already take over a game before level 8. And they buffed Wild Charge so much to disincentivize Discharge. Now that they've properly nerfed Discharge, Wild Charge is actually really strong. And then you go Spark Wild Charge, and then you get a million dashes onto someone, and then you just wipe out an entire team. The Unite move nerf is very substantial because it means you don't get to, like, 1v3 a Unite move team fight anymore. But a well-played Zeraora is still really strong, and Hero proves that. Every time he goes on to Pokemon Unite, he gets a Pentakill with a Pokemon from the jungle. So, like, you can still be ridiculous on Zeraora. But now there's just, like, better Pokemon in the game, so that's a thing. Also, I feel like Talonflame has surpassed Zeraora, and mostly because Talonflame's gameplay pattern is toxic, and I've been talking about this for a while now, and they didn't really nerf it. Like, reducing the movement speed on fly in the best case scenario is like, oh yeah, now Talonflame doesn't get to get away with the shenanigans, but people have already mastered and fully expressed Pokemon's skill cap to a disgusting amount. The jungle pathing has been super optimized to where really there's no point where Talonflame isn't Talonflame. Like, you do the clear, you just hard gank a lane, you hard gank again, you take your second camps, and then you're Talonflame, and then you go and get some kills, and now you're like super stacked for Dreadnought. There's really no way to push a Talonflame team off Dreadnought because the threat of Talonflame is so absurd, and then it just flies into a team, does half their health, and then Flame Charges away because Pokemon's super free. Like, Flame Charge and Fly need significant cooldown nerfs or some kind of vulnerability added into Talonflame. Like, I hate it when you do, like, clunky things like locking out abilities, but you shouldn't be able to land and then immediately Flame Charge away. It just makes the Pokemon uncounterplayable, and the lack of counterplay is usually the most unhealthy thing that makes a Pokemon broken or a champion in League of Legends. That's, like, a big point of game design. So yeah, like, Talonflame, again, people are just optimizing it and, like, perfecting how to be as toxic as possible. And the Pokemon's still broken. You can't do anything about it. Now just taking over games more than ever. Cool. Mr. Mime's S tier. Again, people are just getting better on Mr. Mime, and they're, like, understanding. Yeah, you go Mr. Mime in the 1-1-3, and then you can't lose the game. You clap steal everything, you shut down team fights, and then you're just, like, the most annoying, uncounterable Pokemon. And then where it matters at Zapdos, everyone Unite move Death Balls with the Mr. Mime, and you can't beat it unless you're just quicker on the draw with your Unite move Death Ball Mr. Mime team. Still a ridiculously high skill cap Pokemon. I've said from the beginning, like day one, Mr. Mime is the most absurd, quirky character that is S tier to the most cracked of mains, who I will not begin to comprehend because you guys are weird. But good job. You have, like, one of the best Pokemon in the game because of it. Snorlax getting everything sooner makes it A+ tier, but the thing is, Mamoswine getting everything sooner makes it S tier. Mamoswine's just better Snorlax. Like, if you're thinking about picking a tank, just pick Mamoswine over Snorlax, because Mamoswine is harder, burstier crowd control that just does ridiculous things with better laning. Like, Snorlax is absurd. Snorlax has some of the best laning in the game with that tackle, because you can just secure over pretty much any Pokemon, while also having crowd control, while also being a distraction on the rest, and then just, like, you win lane with Snorlax. But the triple CC of Mamoswine is just better. And now that everything comes online a level earlier, Icicle Crash at level 5 is disgusting. AoE multi-hard crowd control, and then level 7, you Icicle Crash high horsepower into, like, a delayed Dreadnought fight. You hit 3 people with that, and then the game's over. That's pretty much it. Your goal is to just lock down, like, 2 people every fight, and then the game becomes impossible to lose. So, Mamoswine, yeah, you win lane, you get ahead, and then you can just stay ahead and block out anything the opponent wants to do. So it's already a really strong Pokemon, but definitely S tier now. Lucario, you can't, like Lucario's still the best A+ tier Pokemon. Until Meteor Mash or Quick Attack is, like, significantly nerfed on the damage, it just wins lane. It's still viable. It just still gets to level 5. Always go Extreme Speed. Power Punch has never been the best option on Lucario, even since launch. You learn how to master Extreme Speed. Close Combat sucks because it doesn't reset Extreme Speed like Bone Rush. And then you just perfectly chain an entire team, and then you hit them, and then you just win. Like, Lucario is still nasty. The nerfs have definitely impacted it. Also, like, the gameplay changes. Like, Lucario doesn't get to bully anymore on, like, scoring and stuff and, like, pressuring people too much and all that other weirdness, but still a really strong Pokemon. Like, it still just gets into a team fight, reset chains on everyone, and then just, there's nothing they can play about it. But people are getting better, and some of the new Pokemon are getting more overtuned. So, Lucario's kind of falling down, but you just pick it to win lane, and then you snowball it from there. After that, who do we talk about? Like, Cinderace still S tier. Cinderace best carry ADC in the game. Greninja, A+ tier. People have been picking up Surf again, especially after the sub nerf. Like, you just, like, Surf Smokescreen was always equally viable, and now with the sub nerf, Surf Smokescreen is the way to go again, and it's still ridiculous. And if you get, like, one good reset fight in the mid game, you're just ahead, and now you can't lose. So, Greninja, ridiculous A+ tier, but Cinderace is damaged way too much. That Pyro Ball, the ability to escape on a mobility move, reposition, and then, like, 3-tap someone with crits, unacceptable. But yeah, Cinderace, like, this is what you mean. This is what you need. You need your Vayne in the late game to where you just tumble out of something, hit someone 3 times, and they're dead. And then you can also use it. It has the best securing Unite move in the game, too. Like, Zapdos is the game, as we've talked about with Garchomp, and as I've talked about in every other video. You use your Unite move to secure Zapdos for either a steal or a secure on a team fight or something like that, and then you just win. And then you go and score 500 points, and then the game is over, because as long as that Cinderace threat is around, that's it. So, Cinderace, this isn't in any particular order except for Tsareena, and, you know, Talonflame being better than Zeraora. But, like, these are the S tiers now. Mr. Mime has always been ridiculous, because in the right compositions and strategies, it's uncounterplayable, it's unstoppable. Mamoswine just got Giga buffed by having everything 1 level earlier, but not getting the gutting that Garchomp got. And then Cinderace has always been S tier. Well, recently has been S tier because it's just the best AD carry and always has been over Greninja. So we got some shenanigans going on over there. Crustle, I feel like Crustle just kind of, like, it has S tier potential, and if you just, like, fat an entire team with Shell Smash X's or never go Stealth Rocks, you're trolling. Never go Score Shield, it sucks, and you're a bad player for thinking it's good. But outside that's, like, yeah, Crustle, I think its laning is too weak. Like, you can get bullied in the 1-1-3, you can get bullied in the solo top. That level 6 is kind of, like, weird and awkward to scale into, especially now that Mamoswine and Snorlax are coming online earlier. But you still just take over the mid game. You're one of the best, unstoppable, strongest mid game Pokemon that enables team fights like few others. But then you kind of, like, drop off in the late game and things get kind of weird, but it's a strong A+ tier. Like, I feel like when you already have 6 S tier Pokemon chilling here, can't put Crustle back in S tier, but I will acknowledge, yes, Japanese Beta Crustle, definitely S tier. This is definitely a weaker Crustle, though. Game's weird. Where do we go from here? Like, Greedent's D tier, Slowbro doesn't exist. Like, just don't play those Pokemon ever. They don't even exist in the game. Like, if you see it, it's a glitch, it's a bug, just skip over and actually go to a real Pokemon. Yeah, I'm trying to think now, because, like, Gardevoir, people are saying Gardevoir's S tier. It has all that nastiness online, and like I said, Garchomp will never be an S tier Pokemon because it's impossible to be consistent, but it's definitely way better. Like, it's at the top of A+ tier right now, and it's a very strong, very ridiculous carry Pokemon. You pop your Unite move at Zapdos, and then you win the game. And you also, like, use Psyshock to secure or steal Dreadnought, use it to just burst down carries. You catch someone with a Moonblast, him with 3 Psyshocks, and they just die. Don't go Future Sight. Future Sight sucks. But the thing is, like, Gardevoir's still unreliable and still very prone to getting dive and squished on. If anything, like, Tsareena Talonflame meta and Zeraora, yeah, Zeraora still just, like, one-shots Cinderace and Gardevoir in the backline. Like, any of these 3 Pokemon get on you, you just instantly lose the fight, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or you have to, like, desperate burn your Unite move and, like, Psyshock yourself, which kind of gets awkward, but you're not coming out of this alive. You might do some serious damage, or you might, like, try to turn it, but you're going down and maybe you trade, I don't know. So, like, Gardevoir is still a squishy backline artillery mage, and you can also just whiff your abilities. You're half a second too late with your Unite move, and now you're completely useless. You put Psyshock in the wrong spot, or you just get off tempo a little bit. No matter how good you are at Gardevoir, you're going to miss some abilities, and they're going to be crucial abilities, and it's just impossible to play the Pokemon perfectly. Like, there's no skill cap to master and be automatic on with Garchomp, or not Garchomp, Gardevoir. That's what will always hold it back from S tier. Unless something ridiculous happens. But I don't think it's more ridiculous than evolving at level 9 and getting everything sooner. But still very, very strong. Oh, man. Like, last patch, or last tier list, I put Cramorant in A tier and it hurt my soul. But it's like, I don't see how Cramorant's better. Yes, it's bugged, but you can't use a bug to gauge a Pokemon's performance, especially when the devs already confirmed they're going to do something about it. So, like, yeah, like, the rest of the roster almost feels A or B tier, right? Maybe Blissey being A+ tier, because Blissey just Giga supports. You Helping Hand, which is the best ability in the game. You use Safeguard, which is also one of the best abilities in the game. You just get someone in there, and then they're unstoppable. So yeah, just, especially like now when you look at some of the Pokemon coming in, where it's like, yeah, just support Cinderace. Just pocket the Cinderace with a Blissey, throw a shield on Tsareena as they dive in, or Zeraora as they dive in, so they can't be crowd controlled for even a little bit. Like, that first ability needs to be the crowd control ability. That gets absorbed by the shield, and then the Pokemon wreaks havoc. And then it also has some attack speed steroids and stuff. Also, just everything benefits from attack speed in some way. So I think, like, Blissey's S tier. Eldegoss, also Blissey's way better for laning. Eldegoss is just really strong, though. Like, AoE, Team Shield, the Unite move can steal objectives, can just completely disrupt fights. The whole E-Girl comp, like, you just run Mr. Mime, Eldegoss. I still think Wigglytuff's bad. And then, like, Blissey, it's like all three of those Unite move, and whatever 2 Pokemon you have on your team, they become unkillable and you just win. So, it, like, there's, like, yeah, like, that's the thing. You can't out-fat the shields and healing from all of that in the time it takes, like, KO Cinderace, or beat a Lucario, or Tsareena, or Zeraora, Garchomp, or something. So, weird things happen. But, I think Blissey is just better overall, and there's still too many vulnerabilities for Eldegoss, and if Eldegoss gets behind, the game's just lost. So stuff like that. Gengar's A tier, can still like multi-pop off into people. Garchomp's a struggle. Absol has no late game. Pikachu needs help. Ninetales is pretty good. I don't know if the buff makes it A+ tier, because like that special attack buff doesn't matter. Never Go Blizzard, Aurora Veil's still the best, and it's always been a strong laner. Like I said, like I kept holding hope that Ninetales was secretly S tier, like it was on launch, and then it just got like crept out of the meta. Maybe it's been secretly A+ tier at least, because like you just win lane. Like you can just steal things and like set up ganks and just like bully people out and just kind of just have enough in that laning because you come online so early at that level 4. And your level 3 is also disgusting. So the Pokemon's ridiculous. But the late game is where Ninetales tends to drop off because it doesn't have sustained DPS or disgusting crowd control compared to like, it can be disgusting, but I mean, it's one of those things like Ninetales needs to set up in a right spot and do some things, and it can like kind of lock out a target. There's like so much mobility, you can just kind of slip out of Ninetales' effective range and then still beat it from range, or it gets dove on, and the Unite move also is kind of limited. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it's like if you're playing Ninetales for like late game crowd control, Blastoise is just better. But Blastoise did get nerfed. It's an A tier Pokemon, and you can still like just hard lock someone down. You Surf Hydro Pump someone into a wall and they can't move for like 4 seconds. That's just a win. So that's kind of crazy. Venusaur's still overrated. Machamp still in an interesting spot. Sylveon post nerf is still strong enough. And that's going to be the list, boys. Like I said, it's mostly just my strong thoughts on like how the mix-ups happened and some of the other weird things that ended up going down. And then everything else is pretty much the same with a couple of like, things going on. But yeah, this wasn't as big of a change as I thought. Like, we need major Zapdos changes still, potential. Actually, Zapdos is kind of getting weird. But I don't know if it's just because the player base gets worse and worse. Like, every time I play Pokemon Unite, player base is worse. It's just more awful. The Japanese tournament spectate just kind of shows that. No one knows what they're doing anymore. We need major item rebalance already. We need a couple of new items introduced as well. This is a good start right here for like some of the gameplay changes, like the goals and whatever. But I don't know, there's just like some intangible BS in the game right now. Some of it has to do with the Pokemon, some of it has to do with like the game function itself. And it just seems like the game isn't as fun anymore. Like they nerf Cramorant for no reason, Garchomp kind of gets tagged, but then Talonflame's allowed to be like Giga Toxic, and the 1-1-3 E-Girl comps haven't been touched, and now Tsarena's released as the most broken Pokemon ever behind Gengar. And then like now it's almost like A tier is almost unplayable, which is kind of weird, where it's like, yeah, you don't have that power fantasy, you just don't feel like you're impactful, and then your teammates hold you down, and that just gets worse every patch. I don't know. Hope you guys enjoy the video. That's how Pokemon is right now. That's the best tier list. Cry about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.